60 minutes of your life or day. The Homer Hour. Friday always means Gary Ellison. Of all the times Gary Ellison has been on or will be on in the future, this is going to be the best ever.
Why is that, Homer? But I think every time I'm on is the best ever.
All right.
Isn't it?
We'll let people decide. I
bring the heat 24/7,
I know.
365.
Right. But even the sun.
No one time is better than the other.
Even the sun has its hottest days. Right?
Okay, fine.
All right. And this is because the story you have and the story you lived with the Bears-Packers playing this Sunday is so good, no one's going to believe it. Now, you played for Forrest Gregg.
Right.
All right. My background to this is Forrest Gregg was just big. I don't know if he was a bully, but he had a bully to him.
He did.
Okay, and then there was Mike Ditka, the coach of the Bears at the time.
Right.
The key people have to remember about Mike Ditka, he hated the Packers.
Yes.
And the reason he hated the Packers is they kicked his butt his entire career, other than 1 year.
Yes.
So he had an entire life after playing, or I think he had one goal.
Right.
I'll beat the Packers.
Yes.
I want to beat them as bad as I can.
Yes.
So you are playing. You joined the Packers.
Right.
Forrest Gregg's first year, I think, as head coach, right?
No, I believe it was his second or third year.
All right.
Yeah. And so what you have is, though, Homer, now we're going way back for these people that are super young, but what you got is George Halas, Vince Lombardi, through Forrest Gregg, through Mike Ditka.
Now, this was about 84?
Yeah.
Okay.
So basically, you still... the rivalry for what it is today is not what it was when I played. Matter of fact, the NFL today is not what it is.
Let's go back, because this comes down to what you're told when you come in as a member of the Packers. I mean, what were you said about the Bears, or what did Forrest Gregg tell you in discussions when you were playing the Bears?
And not that not that any other games didn't matter, but whatever we do, we're beating the Chicago Bears. That didn't happen when I played, but
that's
you
what he
knew.
But no, that's what he said. I want people to know what players were told.
Whatever you do, we're beating the Chicago Bears.
Right.
And it was almost insinuated by any means necessary. We go play, I believe my first game, we go play Chicago Bears Monday night at Soldier Field.
This isn't George Cumby, the refrigerator.
No,
is it?
No, not that. But that's coming. We go play, I believe, Monday night in Chicago. And for you folks, Dandy Don Meredith, Joe Willie Namath, O.J. Simpson, Howard Cosell on the call. It can't get any better than that, right? That was true Monday night.
No, people need to understand that game was bigger than all the other games combined, the Monday night game.
Yes, because that's all you had.
And you had these incredible people as a part of Monday Night Football.
Those people I just
named.
And
the Bears were very good at that time.
They were very good.
And the Packers were, Forrest Gregg,
we
weren't bad.
We were 500.
Right.
And then that last year there we bottomed out.
Right.
But that's because then he got upset.
But forget about
and he moved all those people.
Packers,
anyway.
Bears.
So we roll into Chicago and with a hotel, a lot of Bear fans, and you just felt that it was different. All week long in practice, you felt that it was different. Forrest was on another level, coaching-wise.
Can you explain what that means?
Well, he was already ornery, but just meaner than all get out. Anyway.
And you hit during the week, right there.
Or short yards and goal line on Friday, Steve the Homer True. If people don't know what that is,
they don't.
Short yards and goal line means full pads, full go. Let's buckle up.
On Friday. I thought you did buckle upping earlier in the week one day,
too. Every week with him. I mean, that's how we roll.
But
there was no shells.
Wasn't it?
But there was no shells. There was no shorts. We weren't doing none of that kind of stuff. None of that.
And so we throughout the entire season.
Yeah. Okay. So we roll into Soldier Field. We're on the bus. We come down into Soldier Field, and most people don't know that Soldier Field is a very old, historic stadium. We roll into Soldier Field on the buses, and Homer, we went down through a tunnel and then down inside a field and turned the buses around. We were inside another part of the stadium of Soldier Field. Mm-hmm. And it felt like...
This is not the current Soldier Field. This was the original Soldier Field.
This is the original Soldier Field.
Which could hold like 1 million people.
Right, because it was an Olympic stadium, I believe, in its early years when they first built it.
There were some bad football seats.
Oh, man. So so as we turn around, we get off the bus, all this dust is flying around. The inside of the stadium, the concrete was falling down. Okay? But it gave you a sense of how Forrest was talking about how old this rivalry is. It gave you a sense of all the guys that played in this game before you. It almost made the hair on your back stand up, knowing that Tony Canadeo, knowing that Johnny Blood McAnally, I'm giving you some names now, knowing that these guys participated
You'd
in this game.
never heard of these guys before you became a member of the Packers.
No.
Right.
I never did. But when you are a member of the Packers, you know who Tony Canadeo is. Right. You know who Johnny Blood McAnally is, right? You know
Curly Lambeau.
You know who you know who these people are. Tony, and I'm getting off track. Tony Canadeo, I remember the first time meeting him in the offices, came down on the elevator. In the elevators, like 5 other guys with Tony Canadeo. Tony Canadeo is in the middle of these 5 other guys. They all had long trench coats on, the top hats, right, with the feather in them, and ties, just immaculate. They look like the mafia and I go, and everybody go, that's Tony Canadeo. That's Tony Canadeo.
That was the Packer
That's Tony Canadeo. And he just kind of moved off the elevator. I go, man, I wish I could be like that one of these days. But anyway, that's besides the point. So you know who these people are. So we get out, we go in the locker room, and at that time we were underneath the stadium. The locker rooms were at that time they were in the north end zone. Bears locker room is in the north end zone, so is ours. We were kind of side by side of one another. Forrest gives his huge speech about the Bears, about the game, what it meant. Okay.
Now, I can't see him giving really long speeches. He doesn't seem. Was it the length of the speech the same, or was the speech so different?
The passion.
Oh, all right.
The passion was different. And I'm just going to end it with, he ended the speech with this. You guys take care of the Chicago Bears. I'll take care of Mike Ditka. Oh, shoot. This is crazy, right?
That's the first time you had heard him say that.
This is different. This is different. Knock on the door, officials. All right, let's go. Let's go, Packers. Time to come out. Knock on the door. So Forrest goes out first. So we're standing behind Forrest. And I'm in front for some odd reason. Young Ricky Snot-Nose. I look down to my right, and you can see the Bears. They're down to the right. So when we go out, we're going to go out to the left. When the Bears go out, they're going to go out to the right, okay? So I look out, there's Mike Ditka standing down at the end of the tunnel where they're about to go out. Richard Dent, Mike Singletary, Jim McMahon, Otis Wilson, they're all down there. I'm standing with Charlie Martin, right, Ezra, Ron Hallstrom.
Ezra
Johnson. And all of a sudden, Mike Ditka and Forrest Gregg made eye contact. And they both took off, started running at each other underneath the stands before we had cameras. And I go, oh my God, this is just crazy. So Ezra Johnson runs and grabs Forrest, Richard Dent, all those guys. They're grabbing Mike Ditka. They're holding these guys up. They're ready to throw down right now underneath the tunnel.
And you're not making this up.
No.
Okay, if those players had not interrupted.
They'd have thrown down right then and there underneath the stadium, Soldier Field. So we separate them, come back, and we get ready to go out of the tunnel, and Forrest then turns around to us and says, men, put your helmets on. So we getting ready to go out, and all of a sudden, just beer everywhere on top of us, the fans. That was the first time, Homer, in my career, I felt like I was a gladiator. Like it was a gladiator sport. Like this is about to go down. This game is going to be different.
How many NFL games had you either played in or this was your rookie year when this happened?
Right.
So you'd been through training camp. And you never felt
nothing.
What you felt.
Nothing. And And it was Monday night, right? I mean, it's all amped up because it was Monday night. Bears, Packers. It is the oldest rivalry in the NFL.
And
most
they
played
were
rivalry.
a significant favorite. I don't have to.
Yeah, sure they were because they were Super Bowl favorites too at that particular time. But you know it was going to be different. You know it was going to be more like a brawl than a football game.
When the players pulled the two coaches apart, did either say anything or did that pretty much end it? Each went back.
Yeah, no, so that pretty much ended when we pulled them apart, but both of them probably drooling out of the mouth ready to go. And when we ended it, we ended it.
Did anybody ever, or did you ask, like, what's the deal? This is crazy. Why? Is there something between the two that we don't know
No,
about?
Well, I'd never asked that question, but you just knew it was Packer Bears.
Yeah.
And it was that way every other time we played.
So it wasn't personal between the two, but it was.
Well, it could have been. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I'm not sure,
They
but you
sold
know
it as the team.
it's Packer Bears. It's Bear Week.
Like
people in Green Bay, it's Bear Week.
Like if I was on the team, you'd laugh at this. They go like, Coach, like I know it's Packer Bears, but they're like really good.
It don't matter.
They're like he's expecting you to win. He doesn't care how much better
good they are.
The Bears are.
And they never really blew us out, homie. You go back and look at the games.
Some very close
games.
games.
They were all close games.
Yes.
They never really blew us out. We were always in all these games. They were just a little bit better than what we
all right,
were.
we got to take a break because
Sure.
we're going to get to the second quarter. Now, I feel like, by the way, history will show that I was right.
Okay.
As good as you are, this is finest ever. You will be challenged the rest of your life to have stuff as good as this. Repeat again the words that Forrest Gregg said to you as a team about playing the Bears. You take care
of the Chicago Bears. I'll take care of Mike Ditka.
Those are two Hall of Fame players. All right, I'll decide whether or not we want to get to this game because I want to emphasize.
Oh, we have to get to this game.
We will, but I want to emphasize the discussion of the rivalry is garbage compared to the way it was when you played.
Oh,
now,
sure.
I think
It's not
yours
even
might
the
have been
same.
the greatest rivalry ever
Yeah.
because it's a reflection of the coaches.
Right.
Coaches now, they're just, I don't think. Man, LaFleur is going to say that to the team.
No, he's not doing that.
And so people say the players are different. Maybe, but it's the leadership is from the organization.
Is different.
Yes.
And the fandom is different.
You played against the Vikings. That wasn't the same.
No.
You played against the Lions. That wasn't the same.
No.
So, quarter two with Gary Ellerson. Next.
More of the Homer Hour coming up next on 94.5 ESPN.
Southbound on 43, backing up from Silver Spring all the way down almost to Locust. Northbound 43, backing up from Fond du Lac Avenue up to Keefe. Westbound 94, still heavy. 27th Street all the way to almost Hawley Road. Give yourself a little bit of extra time to get through there. Traffic is brought to you by the Neal Group. They know how to minimize your taxes to keep more money in your pocket. Visit nealgroup.net. That's NEAL Group.net. And checking the TMJ4 Storm Team forecast tonight. Mostly cloudy with a chance of light snow later on with a low of 30. Tomorrow, light snow likely around an inch possible with a high of 35. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Debbie Lazaga on 94.5 ESPN.
Football Guy.
What the hell happened to Bucky on your hat?
Football Guy.
A lot of wear and tear for old B.
Coming at it from different views.
I'm just saying he's well worn. I mean, his face is missing.
Okay, well, it's probably time for me to freshen that up. Bucky wants to flip you off right now.
Wilde and Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Also sponsored by Coors Light. Weekdays 9 to noon on 94.5 ESPN. And available wherever you get your podcasts with Wisconsin On Demand.
Do you check your savings account and wonder if you're even saving at all? At Town Bank, we view banking differently and actually want to see your savings grow. With our amazing new CD rates, you can now earn even more, so you can sit back and relax. Stop banking the same way, expecting different results, and start earning more. Go to townbank.us/locknewrates or visit a Town Bank branch nearest you today. Bank differently with Town Bank. Member FDIC.
Saganiac Planning, a name synonymous with employee benefits and top-notch service. I've been saying that for years. I've been wrong. They're better than that. They've been doing it great for over 50 years. Saganiac Planning, a name synonymous with employee benefits, top-notch service, and for over 50 years, family-owned. That's why the confusing insurance decisions, aren't bad. They are confusing. And they've come up with level-funded health insurance. Why? Because they've been doing it so well for so long. Saganiac Planning, a name synonymous with employee benefits and top-notch service, and doing it great for over 50 years. Saganiac Planning, 262-783, Roger Maris, 6161.
Gabe Neitzel from Jen, Gabe, and Chewy here. Don't let the chilly weather end your golf season. X-Golf and American Family Field is open all year round. They've got innovative and accurate golf simulators, all overlooking left field at AmFam Field. Enjoy daily lunch specials or have an outing with your friends and take in X-Golf's full bar and food menus. X-Golf AmFam Field is even offering golf lessons by a PGA Pro. Everyone is welcome at X-Golf AmFam. Book your sim today, xgolfamfamfield.com. I'll see you out there.
Woo! Hey, this is Ben Brust from Kyle Brust and Ortman on ESPN Wisconsin. People can't stop screaming about the Screamin' Sicilian frozen pizza, and no wonder. There's plenty to scream about, like the buttery stone-fired crust, secret recipe tomato sauce, mounds of whole milk mozzarella, and tons of premium toppings. Find Screamin' Sicilian in your local grocer's freezer and find out for yourself why Sporked called Screamin' Sicilian's Holy Pepperoni frozen pizza the best of the best. Screamin' Sicilian. Taste what all the screamin' is about.
Hi, this is John Neal, CPA, best-selling author, and founder of the Neal Group, with over 40 years of experience helping businesses make money and keep it. 2023 is almost over. How are you doing? Do you even know how you are doing? Do you have money in the bank? Are you getting the advice you need to minimize your taxes and put more money in your pocket? Do your calls get returned and questions answered? We help you look at your numbers and understand what they mean. How would you like an extra $10,000 or $100,000 in your pocket? We can help you now, before the end of the year. Using tried and true strategies, we have helped countless businesses increase their profits and lower stress. Our Neal deal guarantees you'll increase your profit or you don't pay us. Really. If you want to get started on the road to making more money and having less stress, visit nealgroup.net right now. That's NEAL group.net. The first meeting is free to see if we can help. Again, nealgroup.net.
This is the Homer Hour on 94.5 ESPN.
The greatest Gary Ellison ever. And there'll be very good ones in the future. This is just the information that you have. You were there. You were there and a part of it with the Bears and the Packers when the rivalry was the greatest it's ever been. And teams, specifically Forrest Gregg and the Packers, went to a level or told the players to go to a level, anything was okay.
Right.
There was nothing you could have done that Forrest Gregg would have said you've gone too far, correct?
How about this?
Yes.
This may sound crazy to you, and the only time this really happened to me. When I first started playing football in high school,
for people who don't know, you grew up in Georgia.
In Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
8th, 9th grade, my high school coach gathered all the boys around. Come in, get it. Day one. Between these two white lines, the coach says, you can commit assault and battery and not go to jail. 1, 2, 3, break.
And what did you think when you first heard that?
That didn't come to fruition until I played in the Packers-Bears rivalry.
Well, prove the point. Prove the point.
Because that's kind of what that was. I mean, yeah, there were some X's and O's, but it was really about your heart. It was really about your manhood. It was really about physicality. It's really about why I got to go have a back surgery right now. That's what it's really about. And it was intense. It was unlike any other game that I've ever played in before in my life.
I don't remember the year. History says the two greatest or worst moments were when Ken Stills hit Matt Suhey a week after he had gotten up after running the ball, and then Charles Martin slamming Jim McMahon.
We go into the locker room the next day. Well, this is the next day after that.
That wasn't the first one you were in. I don't know which.
Yeah, that wasn't the first one. This was at Lambeau Field. But right. We go into the locker room.
You were playing.
I believe
that game as well.
That was my rookie year as well. Okay. That was at Lambeau. The next, like Monday or Tuesday, we in the locker room. Forrest gets up and addressed the team. You're right. Stills hit Matt Suhey way
correct
after
Now, those were the two incidents, and they were in the same game.
Well, then there was a Charles Martin incident, and there was an incident where Mark Lee threw Walter Payton
over the bench.
Over the bench.
Yeah. Okay. Which was the sanest of the three, and it didn't even play.
Right. So Monday we come in. Forrest gets up in the front of the team and says, "Men, if I had 35 more Ken Steels, we would have won that game." That put it in perspective, right?
And what do you remember your thought? Well, you knew Kent still.
Well, he was my roommate. Yeah. Right, he's my roommate at Wisconsin.
Yeah.
We're best friends to today. I'm his godson to.
Right, so
I'm a godfather to
after
his
the
sons.
game,
He's a
did you say
to my kids?
You say, Ken, was that a little late?
Well, no, but Ken was different. He was wired different. I mean, he was one of Forrest Gregg's guys because he was built different. He was.
I understand.
Yeah.
But so you just knew that's just him.
That's him.
Okay.
You never knew what he was going to do.
Right.
Wasn't the biggest guy in the world.
No.
But he was tough.
Yes.
And that's what Forrest liked. He liked tough guys.
Yes.
Yeah, he liked tough guys.
Right.
But
so when you're hearing that, when he says that, Forrest Gregg says that, do you shake your head? I mean, you can't make any motion to
no. But as a player,
yeah,
you knew what your coach wanted and how he wanted the game.
He wasn't the slightest bit embarrassed by anything that
how
happened.
he wanted the game played. Yeah. Not necessarily he wanted you to do illegal things, but he wanted this team to be a tough team. Play within the lines. Be fair within the lines, but within the lines, bring it. And that's what we tried to do every single game. We weren't very good.
But you weren't bad. I wanted people to know. The
we weren't
problem
very
with Forrest
good.
Gregg, and he had won in Cincinnati, got into the Super Bowl, but you got to 8-8. You just couldn't get over the hurdle.
Right.
And then after he decided to then bring in a whole new team, it changed.
Right.
But prior to that,
and then I was on that team. We went like 4-12.
Right, but 8-8.
That was awful.
They were a good. I mean, I would say it was a good 8-8 team. The Bears were just so good.
They were so good. They were beyond good. I mean, folks, Lynn Dickey. We don't talk about him much in Packers.
One of the great
history.
quarterbacks in Packer history.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Don't get the credit that.
He played hurt. He played on
Lynn
one
Dickey
leg.
had the bad hip. He's got a scar from the top of his hip all the way down to
and it was
the bottom
the year
of his
before
leg.
you when or a couple years before you when Bart Starr was the coach. And
Right.
They came close.
Right.
But that was as great an offense as the Packers have ever had.
Bob Snelker was the offensive coordinator. We believe in James Lofton, Philip Epps. I mean, Walter Stanley, Paul Kaufman, Gary Ellis, Jesse Clark, Eddie Lee Ivory, John. I mean, we believe in pushing the ball down the field. Carl Swanke, Greg Cook. I mean, we had a really good offensive line. We could score 30, 40 points.
Let me emphasize to people, the year I'm speaking of, Bart Starr's final year, their defensive coordinator was worse than Joe Barry.
Was that
Meyer?
Dick? Well, yeah. Dick Mozileski
came with Forrest.
And
he was much better. But this was a guy that was a friend of Bart Starr, and he defended him to the very end. But without a doubt, you don't even need to check.
Right. Sounds familiar. Huh?
They gave up so many points.
Yeah.
It's really tragic that team did not get into the playoffs because nobody wanted to play them.
Right.
Despite the offense was so good. All right. So what else would you want to add to the rivalry that explains? I don't know that you can trump that stuff. That explains how different it is. I mean, the league.
Well, let me give you my first play, and then I want to move on to.
Then we're going to break. Then we're going to get to the game.
All right. Monday night, Danny Dorn Meredith, right?
Yes.
Howard Cosell.
Yeah.
O.J. Simpson, right? I mean, you got Joe Willie Namath with the fur coat on. Joe Willie.
Yes.
Okay. I'm on kickoff return, back deep. We practice all week long. The fridge, he's on the front line. He was on the kickoff. Coverage team. We're going to run a right return. Forrest says, don't worry about it. We're going to double him up front with John Dorsey and Brian Noble. We call him in right. We're going to double. Don't worry about the fridge. I get the ball. I'm coming maybe 3-4 steps. Boom! Fridge. Knocked me out. And he's standing over the top of me. And all I could see was his big belly jiggling around. And I'm seeing stars. My good friend Kenny Stills runs over to me. He says, hey, you got to get up. We on Monday night. Everybody's watching. So he helps me up. I kind of make a move towards the Bears bench. Then they get me over to the Packers bench. There was no
No blue tent for you to go in.
There was no blue tent. We had this deal because if you wanted to go back in the game, Doc's going to come over to you. He's going to hold up some fingers. It's always 2. So when Doc asks you, if you can remember, how many fingers do you see? You automatically, if you got it, I see 2.
And they question how safe the game is today versus back then.
The dude said it's always going to be 2, Gary. So when he holds up the fingers, just say 2.
Was it the hardest you were ever hit returning a kickoff?
Yeah, ever in my life. Ever in my life.
How?
Well, but maybe I think I probably had a hit harder than that. But, I mean, there was always.
If I'm you,
there was always
I'm thinking,
hits. Yeah.
how, forget that there were 2 guys blocking him, but how would a guy that big get down that far and be going that fast? He clearly could.
He was a freak of nature.
He could run that well.
He was a freak of nature.
Yeah.
And back then, that's when they didn't want guys to be 300 pounds. He was before his time.
Correct.
And they were finding him because he was overweight. I mean,
but he had to be able to move.
Yes. Nowadays, you got 300 linemen. They're a dime a dozen on the defensive line. He was before his time.
You may have had an even more famous hit than George Cumby had against.
We don't even talk. But George, I love George Cumby. I love him.
That was a different game.
I just saw George for the first time here.
I was there at that game and interviewed.
Forrest wasn't happy.
Well, I interviewed the Fridge afterwards. And I understood very quickly why the interviews with the Fridge were pretty short.
Yeah.
They covered him very well.
Yeah.
But you stated it.
Yeah.
A freak of nature in terms of the speed that he had given his size.
Right. And Buddy, Ryan, didn't want to use him because he was in a feud with Ditka. Don't know how they won, but they didn't like each other.
No love.
There was no love lost.
Yes, that was a very even when they won the Super Bowl, the defensive players put carried Buddy Ryan out. All right, to the game.
Yes.
Anything else that you would like
Let's
to say?
get to the game.
No, I don't want to have missed out on any.
I gave it all to you.
You gave it all?
I gave it all to you. No, I ain't going to leave nothing on the table, man.
I just want to let you know, when
What?
people who've listened to this will see you in the future, they'll go, hey, you take care of the Bears. I'll take care of Mike Ditka. Third quarter, this year's game, next.
The Homer Hour is back after this on 94.5 ESPN.
A broken down vehicle on southbound 41 on the ramp to get onto westbound 94. The right lane is blocked, so heads up with that. That is going to be affecting your ride. We're already starting to see delays all the way back to Watertown Plank. The southbound 43 slowing from Silver Spring all the way down to about Locust. Northbound backing up from Fond du Lac Avenue all the way to Keefe. Traffic is brought to you by the Delafield Brewhouse Restaurant and Brewery. Enjoy their Nagawicked Pale Ale Beer Battered Cod, available Fridays for lunch and dinner. Dine in or take out ready. The Delafield Brewhouse. And check out the TMJ4 Storm Team forecast tonight. Mostly cloudy, a chance for light snow later on, a low of 30. Tomorrow, light snow, likely around an inch, possible a high of 35. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Debbie Lazaga, 94.5 ESPN.
Traffic is brought to you by Great Lakes Dragway. Gear up for the spring season at the legendary Great Lakes Dragway. Season-long family passes are available now at GreatLakesDragway.com.
College Football Championship Week is here on 94.5 ESPN. Brought to you by Boucher Automotive. The biggest guests, the biggest analysis, and the biggest games, 94.5 ESPN is home to the biggest weeks of the year. And with 16 new car brands, over 35 pre-owned brands, and 5,000 vehicles in stock, Boucher Automotive is the perfect choice to shop for your next vehicle. Check out their inventory at Boucher.com. Boucher Automotive, riding with you every mile since 1977.
Weather is brought to you by Wisconsin Indoor Golf Center in Waukesha. Play Whistling Straits and other Pro Tour courses, whatever the weather is, in one of their 12 state-of-the-art simulators.
Let's get the latest from Lambeau. This is your green and gold fix on 94.5 ESPN. Brought to you by Z-Bart of Greater Milwaukee. Want that mirror finish on your car? You need Z-Gloss by Z-Bart. Z-Gloss is a 3-layer ceramic coating that not only gives your car that mirror finish, it protects it from everything that Mother Nature can throw at it. Visit zbart.com for more information.
The Packers take on the Chicago Bears Sunday in a win-and-in playoff scenario. Last season, Green Bay lost their regular season finale to the Lions, which kept them out of the postseason. However, quarterback Jordan Love says this team isn't using that loss in Week 18 last year as motivation this time around.
I don't think we need to use that. I think this team is motivated enough, the situation we have to get into the playoffs and how bad we want that with, the season we've had, the bumps along the road, put ourselves in position.
It's the Packers and Bears Sunday from Lambeau Field. Kickoff is set for 3:25.
This has been your Green and Gold Fix on 94.5 ESPN, brought to you by Z-Bart of Greater Milwaukee.
It's time for the Ortho ASAP Minute from Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin.
Dr. Rick Papandrea is joining me. How special is it for you being able to watch people see their quality of life return?
There's no doubt that the efficiency is great for everybody. It's very rewarding as a surgeon to take care of somebody and see them get better. But to have them come in and do it in a seamless fashion is really exciting. One case comes to mind. We had a young girl who was doing some cartwheels, and she came in with a broken elbow, and everything lined up, maybe more so than even is typical. She needed special care. She needed her elbow fixed with a very particular fracture that is difficult to fix. And not only is it difficult to fix, but it can be somewhat complicated by stiffness. So with my specialty of my background, I do a lot of elbow arthroscopy, which isn't very common. And we had her in the operating room later that day where I was able to arthroscopically reduce and fix her elbow fracture. And she was back to a normal kid about 2 months later.
The Ortho ASAP Minute is sponsored by Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. There is a difference.
Hey ESPN Milwaukee fans, Gary Ellison here from my friends at Best Electric Services. They're family owned and operated and have been serving you for over 50 years. No job is too big or too small, whether it's completing a residential or commercial project or even installing electrical vehicle charging. Best Electric provides quality service at fair prices. They are experienced and licensed electrical contractors ready to get to work. Connect with the Best Electric Services. Find out what they can do for you and visit bestelect.com today.
Hey, it's Jason Wilding for Associated Bank. Here in Wisconsin, we love our sports year-round, right down to the Packers games in the Lambeau snow. If you want to show your love for the green and gold every day, you got it with Associated Bank's exclusive Packers checking account. A one-of-a-kind debit card, a 10% discount at the Packers Pro Shop, plus everything you'll score as an Associated Bank customer. Best of all, you'll get a banking partner based right here in the Midwest. Visit AssociatedBank.com/Packers to get started today. You've got this with Associated Bank. Member FDIC.
You're listening to the Homer Hour on 94.5 ESPN.
The Homer Hour with Gary Ellison. We do it every Friday. Man, that stuff is good. And that's 40 years ago. 40 years ago.
Why you want to age me like that, Homer?
No, because it doesn't feel 40 years ago. It doesn't feel 40 years ago for you.
Yeah, my back hurt.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
The Homer Hour with Gary Ellison. We do it every Friday. Man, that stuff is good. And that's 40 years ago. 40 years ago.
Why you want to age me like that, Homer?
No, because it doesn't feel 40 years ago. It doesn't feel 40 years ago for you.
Yeah, my back hurt.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I always wanted to be you and Tony Smith. I dreamed of being that. You know what? Now I realize
Homer.
I don't want to be. No. You're both old men.
I'm hurting, Homer. I'm hurting,
and
bro.
That's just from playing. There's nothing you can do to...
No. I mean, some guys are better off than others.
Not many, because I've been to the alumni.
You've seen those guys,
it's
right?
the saddest thing in the world. If I didn't want my kid to play football, I'd bring him to... And it's. I don't know if it's better or worse now, but they all had hips, legs, knees. There was nobody walking normal.
No.
All right, let's get to the Packers-Bears. I have stated all week, because... Not for an effect. That's what I believe. This has been a great season. They found a quarterback. They found offensive weapons. And the offense is the most important thing in the NFL now. And starting next year, playoffs. Let's go.
Yeah.
They are a player.
Yeah.
Given what I've seen and the players they have developed, many of them are rookies this year. So I said, you lose to the Bears. I don't care. It's still a great season. It's a great season, win or lose. And not everybody likes to hear that.
No, I'm with you. They're playing with house money, as far as I'm concerned. I don't care what happens Sunday.
Yeah, and
don't get me wrong.
And they're going to be ahead. They're not only playing with house money.
Yeah.
They lose this game. Yeah. They still got some house money left.
Right. Don't get me wrong. I want them to win Sunday, and I do. I love to see this team get more experience in the playoffs. But I would tell you this: the last 3 games of the year were playoff games for this team because they had to bring.
So they've shown you something already.
Anyway,
that they don't have to prove to you.
This would be the ultimate test.
Yes.
To get over the hump with everything out there to make it into the playoffs. So this is a huge game for them, for all these young guys.
I've also emphasized I'm impressed with the way the Bears are playing, specifically their defense.
Yeah.
Well, the Packers losing could be they weren't up to it, but the Packers losing also could be that the Bears are better than people think.
Well, no, but so they made a trade with Montez Sweat, right?
Yes.
So ever since they got him, they're playing much better football, and it's absolutely incredible. I mean, he brings an element that they didn't have before. T.J. Edwards, linebacker, Wisconsin.
Does it surprise
Jack
you?
Sanborn, linebacker,
does
Wisconsin.
Does it surprise you that one guy can do that?
No, it doesn't, because when you get that guy in your locker room on that defense, and the defensive coordinator is pretty good, and they're just letting these guys play. Right now, they're an ascending football team just like the Green Bay Packers are, only that I feel like the Bears' defense are playing at a better clip, at a higher clip than what our defense is playing right now.
Well, yeah, no one's going to argue that. The question is, you have the Bears' defense having elevated against a Packer offense that is almost elevated to the same degree.
Right.
No one could have dreamt that it would be this good this soon after it was so bad. Remember the game when they couldn't get a first down until late in the first half?
Right. And the crowd stood up and cheered when that happened.
So I see other than the Bears and the Packers, which I've never understood these things because you just got to win games.
Yeah.
Fans may do it, but if I'm playing they're good based on regardless of where they're from.
Right.
But I think the best part of this game by far is the Packer offense against the Bears defense. Two different units that are so confident.
Yes, right now. And I would say this, that Tom Clements, I don't think get enough credit for what he's done with Jordan Love. And I know it's about Matt LaFleur, but Tom Clements is a quarterback whisperer. And I think he deserves a lot of credit.
How does he do it? What does he do?
Well, just the mechanics of what you're seeing Jordan Love is playing with now and the confidence that he is playing with. And Tom Clements is an incredible quarterback coach. And I think when they went and hired Matt LaFleur, and that would be Mark Murphy because he said it, that they knew that he was good at what he does, and they wanted Tom Clements to come back to be the buffer with Aaron Rodgers, which is fine. I got no problem with that because Tom Clements is a really good coach. They had the sight in mind knowing that Aaron Rodgers was the guy, but do we have the guy in place when we draft the next guy to be the guy? And I think Mark Murphy, Brian Gutekunst, those guys have done a great job identifying that Jordan Love could be this guy. He took a lot of heat when we drafted Jordan Love, and probably rightly so. If you think about it, we were just in the NFC Championship game. You probably needed a receiver or two, and you didn't go out and get that guy. You move up and go get Jordan Love.
Well, I believe that I know the answer to that.
Fine.
In that there wasn't a wide receiver that they liked that much. I don't know who was available.
There were a lot of wide receivers in that draft that were pretty
good. And he may have wanted a wide receiver and thought about it, but he couldn't believe a quarterback that good was available that late. Not everybody agreed with him.
Yeah.
But if I know that Jordan...
Nobody agreed with them.
Nobody agreed. Well, there were a few people that thought, but very small number. Just in terms of assessing his talent with Jordan Love. Very few, but some that thought he was that good.
Right.
And he's saying, with Aaron Rodgers, we're going to always draft late in the first round. I'm never going to get a chance at a guy I like as much as that guy. I'll always believe that's why he did it. Not that different from Aaron Rodgers, but Aaron Rodgers was so much more highly touted than Jordan Love when the Packers took him. I mean, there were people that thought
because he was supposed to be the first quarterback.
Correct.
You're right.
No, So Goody was taking a bigger risk, and I will always believe that's why he took him.
Right.
And I don't think he was slightest worried about Aaron Rodgers being
disagree
mad.
with that.
Because Aaron Rodgers is always mad, and whatever we do, he's going to be mad. Right. But, yeah, it would appear that he hit it. And the other thing that I mentioned, I'd like you to comment on, like, it's not just him. Goody was horrible drafting wide receivers and tight ends for a while, and now look at the people he's added in the last 2 drafts.
That's puzzling to me.
Yes.
Is it puzzling to you?
Yes, I don't have an explanation, and he's not going to say it because he's not going to say, maybe he'll blame Rodgers. Amari Rodgers was horrible. Sternberger was horrible. Jamon Moore was horrible. The best he had for a couple of years was MVS. And look what they've added in the last 2 years, which gets me as excited about the team as much as Jordan Love, because you have the potential for an offense that's the kind of offense you need to win in the NFL.
I saw Adam Stenavich. I saw his presser this morning as I were having my cup of coffee. And someone in the audience, well, he was doing a presser, so one of the media guys asked him about not really having a number one receiver like a Devontae Adams, like this guy. Like, he says, it's great, I'm paraphrasing, it's great to have a guy like Devontae Adams, don't get me wrong, we'd love to have him. But it's also what we've been able to do. Our quarterback has been able to read the defenses and throw it to the open guy.
Can I translate? As great as Aaron Rodgers was, he wasn't willing to throw it to anybody but Devontae Adams, and there's a negative to that in terms of running the offense
Somebody need to go pull that up. Adam Stenavich said.
No, don't you think that's what he's saying?
Our offense, I love to have that guy, yes. But our quarterback is able to read the defense and throw it to the open guy. So that's why we're not so concerned about having that number one receiver. And he goes, now don't get me wrong, if they want to double whoever it is, we're going to go back over here. He didn't even say if they want to double whoever it is, we'll force feed them. He said we'll go back over here. So that's what this offense is now about. They're throwing it to who's ever open, that's who's getting the ball.
I would also have added one thing if I was Stenavich.
What?
You're correct. But we might have a Devontae Adams on this team.
You might.
And don't realize it yet. And I want to emphasize.
Right.
I'm not, you don't have to ask me who, because I don't have to mention one. It could be from a group.
Right.
So in 5 years, you might look back and say, well, this is how it worked.
Right.
Because this was the beginning of somebody great. And do I think there's a Devontae Adams in the group? No, but I think it's very likely you have more than one receiver or tight end that's in multiple Pro Bowls.
You could. They got to win.
Right.
Because no one got on the Pro Bowl this year for the Packers. Right? Not one
realization
single guy.
for
so
us.
You gotta win.
Nobody's even noticed.
Nobody even know what we're doing.
Yes.
So you got to win.
Right. But the ability of some of those players that we could be, at the beginning.
Has it been like a huge eye-opening, though, for you, though, Homer, in that when the season first started, we talked a little bit about that you thought it was going to be really about the defense and special teams, but it's not. It's really about this offense is absolutely carrying this team.
Yeah, I've never believed the defense would be as good as everybody said.
I thought it'd be better than what it is right now.
I thought they could maybe be top 10.
But you would have never thought the offense is the leader. The offense, all these young guys, when you start talking about young guys, on this team, what young guys on defense comes to mind first before you say a offensive guy? I mean, it's really about Jordan Love, right? Yeah. It's really about all them guys.
Yeah.
Tucker Kraft. I mean, and if you want to go to Zach Tom, Rasheed Walker is not the player that he was early on.
Right.
Josh Myers has gotten better at center.
No, I would ask you, and we'll do this in the last segment, that I can't think of any time ever with the Packers that you have had the kind of improvement that's taken place offensively from, October to now.
Sure.
And we're talking about with very, very young players.
Correct.
We hear this, if we're going to have young players, when they have negative stuff, it's tough to be confident.
Yes.
You had very young players, they sucked.
Yeah.
And now 6 weeks later,
the light came on.
No lights ever come on like this, ever, from that to this, from so bad to so good, with players so young so quickly. We're talking in the difference of 6 weeks.
I caution you this, though, because they're so young, you never know what you're going to get.
Correct. But you knew one thing. There's no way they were going to be this good.
No,
There's
not
no
like
way
this.
anybody's.
Not like this.
And I will give LaFleur all the credit.
Yeah.
Because that's his offense.
Yes.
He does it his way.
Right.
Whatever he did.
Offense looked much different than it did last year, didn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
But I mean, he didn't overreact.
No.
Now the defense is a whole different. But in terms of taking this young group, I challenge anybody.
Right.
Tell me a team and a group anywhere in the last 50 years in the NFL that changed from that level to this level so young and so new in such a short a time. I don't, we talked about Lynn Dickey. That offense was great from the day they first came out there.
Right.
I don't remember Randy Wright's offense.
No, wasn't very good.
Turn. Yeah, imagine that.
I was in both of those
Imagine
offenses.
late in the year, Randy Wright's offense doing like this one. You didn't live it, right? It never got there, huh?
No.
All right, fourth quarter. Next.
More of the Homer Hour coming up next on 94.5 ESPN. The stage is set. It's Michigan and Washington battling for the title. This is Boucher Automotive College Football Championship Week. Tune into our coverage all week long and catch the game right here on 94.5 ESPN on January 8th. With 16 new car brands, over 35 pre-owned brands, and 5,000 vehicles in stock, Boucher Automotive is where you'll find your next ride. It's Boucher Automotive College Football Championship Week on 94.5 ESPN.
Homer here. There's a good chance you're on a budget. We all are. She wants a diamond. You know it, I know it, and Robert Hack Diamonds knows it too, because they offer a huge selection of lab-grown diamonds, and they sell them at crazy prices. How about 2-carat total weight diamond studs for $9.99? Robert Hack Diamonds can get any size, shape, or clarity in natural or lab-grown diamonds. Don't buy until you call Robert Hack Diamonds. $9.99 for a 2-carat pair of diamond studs. Oh, baby! Robert Hack Diamonds in Greenfield and Brookfield. Why overspend when you can save at Robert Hack Diamonds for the same diamond you're looking for? Better for less. Some jewelers are charging nearly $5,000 for a lab-grown diamond. Not Robert Hack. Your visit will be worth it. Robert Hack also offers repair services and cash for your old gold. They got some of mine. Remember, before you do anything, call Robert Hack Diamonds. Visit RobertHackDiamonds.com for information, RobertHackDiamonds.com, and visit them in Brookfield or in Greenfield.
Hey, it's Gary Olson here for Wisconsin Indoor Golf Center. Looking for that midday escape? Or maybe you want to impress a client? No matter the season, rain, snow, or shine, Wisconsin Indoor Golf Center is open for you. A top-tech, cutting-edge golf experience that gives you the chance to play legendary courses. Wisconsin Indoor Golf Center simulators, entertainment, and best Bloody Marys make it feel like summer all year round. Just $35 an hour gets you a round and puts that summer feel back in your life. Book your bay at WisconsinIndoorGolfCenter.com.
Do you check your savings account and wonder if you're even saving at all? At Town Bank, we view banking differently and actually want to see your savings grow. With our amazing new CD rates, you can now earn even more, so you can sit back and relax. Stop banking the same way, expecting different results, and start earning more. Go to townbank.us/locknewrates or visit a Town Bank branch nearest you today. Bank differently with Town Bank. Member FDIC.
Hi, I'm Dr. Armand Chichich, board-certified urologist at Metropolitan Urology Group. Guys, it's a fact of life. At some point, you'll probably encounter a men's health issue, kidney stones, prostate symptoms, maybe even erectile dysfunction. But did you know most of men's health issues can be treated as an outpatient or an in-office visit? Find out how we can help you at Metropolitan Urology Group.
Go Urology, Metro Urology. Real doctors, real solutions.
What is dedication?
My daughter started making necklaces. She makes what we call affirmation fashion. I tell her every day that your black is beautiful. Your black is beautiful. And if there's anything better than being beautiful, it's being smart. And if there's anything better than being smart, it's being kind. And reaffirming that every day is our method of making sure her chin never drops. My dad wasn't around, And I remember riding a bike and falling off and cutting myself, and me never just wanting to get back on it. People ask, how your children learn how to ride a bike, and you didn't. I didn't teach them. I just created an environment where they taught themselves, and all I had to do was be there.
That's dedication. Visit fatherhood.gov to hear more. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to the Homer Hour on 94.5 ESPN.
This is the Homer Hour, the best 60 minutes of your life, and this is so good. This is like Brian Bulaga, who watches the Packers game twice. You need to listen to this. 2, 3, tell everybody you know about the Bear-Packer rivalry as stated by Gary Ellison. Now, the only thing even close, Cliff Crystal wrote a book once, I think, about the rivalry of the Bears.
He's good.
Yeah, he was there.
Yeah.
Yes. Cliff.
He's a great historian for the Packers.
An incredible, incredible reporter.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Gave favorite to no one. Treated everybody the same.
Yeah.
And never had any interest in being friends to anyone.
Right. Well, that's how you got to be.
I'm a reporter.
Yeah. This is my job.
That's my job. Yeah. I think Bart Starr banned him. There were a couple of them that he banned because they found out about Dwayne Thomas or something. All right. To the Packers, anything we left out that you want to address going into this game against the Bears?
I just think for the Packer organization as a whole, it makes you, in my opinion, not complain so much. I mean, if you think about Favre, Rodgers, Jordan Love, if you look at the Chicago Bears, how bad they've been, if you look at now the Minnesota Vikings, right, they had a shot with Kirk Cousins, they thought, and then if you look at the Detroit Lions, now give the Lions credit. They're on the come up. They did it different. They did it a different way, and they've got a good coach in Dan Campbell. We'll see if he can take them to the next level.
Keep it going.
But from a Packer organization standpoint, they've done an incredible job. I remember once talking to Bob Harlan. He said this statement to me. He said, if we ever get into a point where we're going to be rebuilding, they never use that word, we want the rebuilding to be at least we win 8 or 9 games. Where we remain competitive. We don't want to ever, Gary, go back to 4 games like we were when you played. If we're going to flip the script, the bottom should be 8 or 9 games. He said that to me some 20 years ago. And I think that's always been kind of the Packers' mantra in how they operate and want to do things. People talk about Brian Gutekunst and the way he's drafted, this, that, and the other. I think the blueprint and the plan of the Packers, folks, you got to see it work. It works. Do we want more Super Bowls? Yeah. First got to say that. Everyone says about you've got 2 great quarterbacks in Favre and Rodgers, you've only got 2 Super Bowls. Folks don't know how hard it is to win Super Bowls, and it is. But we're always in the conversation to get there. I'll take that.
And this was, if you ask Bob Harlan privately, this would have been a year in which he wouldn't have wanted 4 wins. But if they had had 5 or 6, he would have understood it.
Yeah.
You're playing with a quarterback, a rookie quarterback. I don't care how many. I mean, I'll defer to you. Guys that were on the team maybe for a couple of years and never played, they're still pretty much rookies.
Yes.
I mean, they understand the NFL better, but you have no idea of knowing what they're going to do when they get out there on the field.
No, you don't. And that's what makes this game on Sunday so different. It's because you don't know. You just don't. I want them to win. I have the Packers winning 30-28.
There's no way they get 30 points on the Bears. Come on, 30 against that defense?
I think they put 30 up.
All right, then you really believe.
Yeah, 30-28.
You believe.
Because his offense is good.
I understand. 30 points.
30-28. I think
they've given up 14.6.
I understand.
The Bears in the last 5 games.
I understand.
All right.
I understand.
30-28. Packers get 30, they're winning the game.
Yes, they got to get 30.
Right.
They get 30, they win. That's the magic number, 30.
I mean, while I say the season's great even if they lose.
Right.
My wish is that they win so that we can see them in a playoff game and what they do.
Yes.
Because what they've done is impossible, and they've already done the impossible.
Right.
So I'm not even saying they're going to win the playoff game, but given that pressure, I want to see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to see them on this stage and what they do.
Right.
This is right. I'm with you. House money. But they push it over the top with this win. And then maybe you go play Mike McCarthy in Dallas.
But see, no, they're already over the top. They're over the top.
No.
They're at Mount McKinley and there's Mount Everest up there.
There's other levels.
What?
There's other levels to go.
That's another level.
Yeah,
the
that's
question
another
is, what level are they at, even if they lose?
What? Because they're already at that level. This, if they win, push them over and put them into another category. And then you go to Dallas and beat Mike McCarthy. That's another level.
And
then you got to go to San Fran and beat San Fran. And that's another level.
No, you're trying to ride a bike across the Atlantic. You can't. It don't matter. No matter how good the bike. As I like to say, no donkey ever won the Kentucky Derby. I will repeat it. Gary Ellison, the best stuff ever on the Packers-Bears rivalry. And Packers 30, Bears 28. I don't know what's next, but it can't be this good. Next.
Wrapping things up with a bit of a backup along southbound 43 still from Silver Spring all the way down to Locust, northbound, slowing around North Avenue up to Keith. On eastbound 94, we're seeing a bit of a backup there from Hawley Road all the way to about 35th Street. Westbound side's just a little tight right through the stadium interchange proper.